Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast in a game between Apocalypse and Startail's Squirtle here on Shakuras Plateau. Apocalypse spawning as the red Terran player on the bottom right hand side of the map, and Squirtle spawning on the bottom left hand side of the map as the blue Protoss. Hopefully this is Squirtle and not just a mislabeled name, and because I can't really read Korean at all. Anyways, this is going to be close air spawns, so there is not going to be a walkway between these two bases, but air units will be able to push their way in rather easily. Now, Shakuras Plateau, a map that normally plays much more macro style in Zerg versus Protoss, but in Terran versus Protoss, I don't think it's going to be as macro heavy, and we'll see what Apocalypse tries to go for. If Apocalypse does go for a double Rax build, he should be able to get in a lot of pressure rather early. However, if he just goes for a Rax into a barracks, we may see Squirtle try to expand right behind that as the game gets underway. We should be seeing a gateway and followed by a scout in just a moment by Squirtle, waiting for that. It looks like it's going to be a 13 gateway as that one probe now makes its way out, warps in the gateway, and now trying to do some scouting. Apocalypse looking to perhaps get another supply depot here or finish off the wall in with a tech lab or reactor. As long as I believe Squirtle's probe goes in the wrong direction, he will not be able to scout out Apocalypse. SCV also making its way out, and it looks like, yes, Squirtle will be moving in the wrong direction. A Marine will pop out just in time. And as that Marine pops out and perhaps deters this probe from coming in, Squirtle will be playing a little bit blind. Because he's playing blind, I expect perhaps a gateway into a cybernetics core, into a robotics facility for that earlier observer. The expansion may be a little bit delayed, but we'll see what's happening here as that one probe now comes back in. There is already going for a supply depot instead of training up a Marine first. So the wall in will complete. And now that the Marine is being trained, the probe not going to be able to really do anything at all, as the SCV half of the time will be on the far side, and the probe just wandering back. He at least knows the spawning position, but doesn't know much of anything else. Not quite sure why. Apocalypse perhaps going to do a little bit of cheese play, going for a factory here. So that is not your standard build at all. A Marine now being trained as well. So Marines are going to be rallied across the map. Where is that robotics facility? It should be coming in just a moment. Another pylon, making sure that Squirtle is not supply locked, and now the probe may be able to squeeze its way through as another Marine finally making its way down. So one SCV also coming in, a Marine may be able to get some damage onto that probe. The probe already taking a fair amount of damage there, and now down to 4 hit points. There it goes. So we are going into a factory, and I believe he built the bunker and actually showed the bunker to his opponent. Yeah, so Squirtle does know about this bunker, so he's perhaps expecting an expansion right behind it, but it's not going to be an expansion, as we are now going into a factory here. This is going to be very, very strange. So a factory here, adding on a tech lab. We are going to get a starport here, perhaps do a swap, and then perhaps get some Banshee play in. And this is a really critical mind game. Apocalypse looks like he's setting up an expansion by setting up this bunker here, but he is in fact not going for that. And then by also lifting off the starport and then building it off in these locations here, even if the probe comes around, the probe is not going to see any hidden tech buildings. The starport should be lifting off in just a moment. We'll see what that factory does. The factory just still flying across the map, and if he actually goes for research on that Banshee cloak, it may work out very, very well for him. You can see that the cloak being started first, and now the Banshee going to be trained behind it. There you go. And just one bunker on the low ground, and Apocalypse playing a very gutsy one base Banshee play. We'll see how it does in the long run. The robotics facility is now finally starting to be trained, and I believe the robotics facility is going to have the observer queued up into the base here. He's not going to see anything, as the command center now being built up behind. So Apocalypse is going to be significantly delayed in his expansion. If you take a look at the harvester count, 27 compared to 24, but Squirtle should be able to chrono boost off of 2 nexuses and get a very large economic lead in just a moment. You can see a proxy pylon now warping in there. The probe still wondering what is happening. You can see that the bunker is completely full, and that probe will just get shot down. So he is still expecting an expansion. Back here, we are going to have, what, 2 sentries and a stalker. The observer now being chrono boosted out, but it may actually... it may actually work out in his favor that the Banshee is holding off just a little bit. And now another command center coming into here. So Apocalypse getting that another additional command center. This command center needs to land, and very, very quickly. Otherwise, the jig is going to be up, as now in comes that Banshee. The Banshee looking to get as much damage as possible, and now going to just look to deal a lot of economic damage. There he goes, going after unit after unit. The Stalkers are now making their way over. The Banshee quickly cloaks, and the Observer now trying to come back. It looks like it will be able to come back in time. The Banshee trying to maximize and unable to get 2 shots of damage onto one of those units there. And now, what was that? How is that building actually being powered? Oh, down over here. It looked like a pylon was actually right there. But the Banshee looking to just turn around, trying to get more shots in. It looks like it will be able to get 2 shots onto a probe. Another probe down. Another probe going to get taken down. And now it looks like that Banshee down to 5, or already at 5 kills, will back off, not taking that last point of damage because the Observer was just too far away. Now going into a mass barracks play, as we are getting this command center up and running. Another Banshee going to be pushing through once more. The factory still floating off here, not really doing anything else, as the command center now in position. So I believe Squirtle has to feel a little bit confused on what's really going on at this stage in the game. Harvester count 30 to 35, so Squirtle still significantly ahead, as this Banshee hasn't done any true damage at all. 1 observer here, a 2nd observer staying close to home, making sure that if a Banshee does come by, that it will be able to spot it in time. We are getting 2 Banshees out in the field, so 2 Banshees now looking to finish off this Zealot. That Zealot just destroyed very easily in midfield, as those Banshees taking a good portion of the map control. And the Observer taking a look around the map, trying to figure out what's happening, doesn't see the starport, and he has to be absolutely confused as what's going on. He sees that the expansion is down over here, but he probably clicked on the mineral patches, knowing that with only 1460 in those mineral patches, the expansion has not been up and running for nearly that long. Apocalypse, however, has this expansion over here on the top left side, and now coming in with 2 more cloaked Banshees. He may be able to perhaps shut down those Stalkers. In a one-on-one fight, he could actually beat those Stalkers, but now the Stalkers are a little bit out of position there, as it looks like it's trying to come back in. Are there going to be Stalkers over here? Yes, more Stalkers coming in, as Colossi now being added to the army. There is a factory over here. There's still a tech lab down over here, as the starport looking to get even more damage in. You can see and the Banshees continuing to just fly back. They are going to be repaired. Army compositions 1100 versus 1875. Food count 90 over 92 compared to 73. So Apocalypse now supply locked at 73 over 73, trying to get those supply depots back up and running. Now up to 79 over 89. But it will slow down his macro pretty significantly. He's floating on 1,200 resources. But now going into 6 racks play. 2 of them with reactors. We'll see what the other 3 will get added on, as Apocalypse looking to go into the more standard Marine Marauder medevac with Vikings to try to shut down those Colossi. Zealots are on the move once more. Both sides do not have any weapon upgrades yet. We are getting a level 1 weapons upgrade for those Marines and those Marauders, so that will definitely be of help, as this one Marine quickly dies, but at least he's able to see this massive army on the move. Apocalypse being very careful to not try to mine out or train up too many SCVs here. He can just drop in mules and just try to mule out that location. And now we are going to have a battle here. 1 poor Marine getting destroyed. Marines, Marauders, and SCVs. Both sides are going to battle it out, lifting off the command center. SCVs coming off the mineral line. But the force field's actually helping, as those Zealots are not going to be able to really deal that much damage. The Phoenixes are in the air, cleaning up the Banshees as well, as the Marauders and the Marines are not able to fight back. Graviton Beam and Squirtle doing a great job holding on to this fight. But finally losing that Colossus there. I believe that those Phoenixes could have perhaps shut down those medevacs much better. And now, taking a look at the army compositions, we see 1,000 resources being floated there. Take a look at the losses. The losses are significantly heavier for Squirtle at this stage in the game. So He didn't really deal as much damage as I believe he would have liked to. A missile turret in position, and now it looks like the Phoenix is trying to shut down the Medivacs, unable to do so. And the Medivacs will be able to heal up this army once more and then start to regain that critical energy. The Medivacs deplete their energy rather quickly on these drug-laden Marines and Marauders as they use stim packs so freely, and they are now once again on the move. Orbital command over here, you can still see SCVs are once again being re-queued up. A Nexus being set up over here by Squirtle. So Squirtle, thinking that he's being cute, saying that I'm gonna hide a Nexus, doesn't realize that a command center, orbital command, already over here, providing a lot of resources. 12 SCVs plus 1 mule. I believe that's about 600 resources a minute off of that one base, as both sides are once again going to engage. Colossi are in position. The Colossi do they have the extended thermal lance range? No, they do not. And that has been the problem. The Colossi, without the extended thermal lance range, are suffering from the focus fire of those Marauders and those Marines. And I think that was a bit of a miscalculation by Squirtle. Squirtle, I think if he had the extended thermal lance range, would have won the battle pretty easily, as the Colossi now going after Marauders and taking them down pretty quickly. Another Viking now taken down, and I believe the Phoenixes are just going to shut down those Medivacs pretty quickly, and all of those Medivacs getting lost in transition. More Marines trying to come back over. It looks like they will not be able to catch up, as Squirtle once again holds the line there. The Phoenix down to 1 hit point, and looking to try to get as much scouting information as possible, as the Marauders and Marines are now backing off. You can see a Nexus already up and running here. It needs to be chrono boosted out. It needs to get as many probes onto those mineral patches. He is currently behind 36 probes compared to 50, as Apocalypse now doesn't even need to worry about taking up his third base, as Apocalypse now sitting on 17 SCVs over here on that top left expansion. Just a pure mineral expansion to get a lot of Marines and Marauders. One of the key things on why Apocalypse's expansion hasn't been scouted out at this stage is that he isn't mining gas. Normally, Squirtle would be able to look at an army and say, he is running off of 6 gas, where is that additional base? But because Terran players have mules, it's very difficult to know when a Terran player has a hidden third expansion like this. And now that we are mining more and more gas, if we see more higher tech units, perhaps some siege tanks, perhaps some Ravens, he will start hunting for that expansion there, as the Phoenix is still wandering around, hasn't taken a look on the top left-hand side of the map at all. There is one factory and one tech lab down over here taking a look at this expansion, and as soon as the Phoenixes come into this location, he's gotta just have his heart absolutely sink. Mules are getting picked off now. Another SCV, the missile turret is completed just in time, taking down one of those Phoenixes. And now we could perhaps see Zealots trying to push their way down. Zealots do not even have level 1 weapons upgrade, and Squirtle going to have a very difficult time, as he's going to be facing 2 Marines and Marauders in just a few seconds. The Vikings are not upgraded. The extended thermal lance range has been completed, so 4 Colossi should be able to get in a lot of damage. And now those Colossi just barreling it out. The Vikings trying to dish out more, and I believe the Phoenixes are going to be able to deal a lot of damage towards those units. Marines now pushing in. There's the force field. I think he was really trying to split the army, and if he had actually split the army, that would have been much better. The Marines and the Marauders now coming back over here. The Zealots able to stop the mining for at least a little bit of time, and now SCVs may get taken down. Yeah, more SCVs destroyed there, but the Marauders and the Marines are coming in to reinforce. Command Center now looking to establish a third base over off on this direction here, and the SCV will finally see a proxy pylon set up there. Phoenix is now in the air, just absolutely dominating this ground force with the graviton beam, and the Vikings look to try to engage. The Vikings cannot win in a 1v1 battle. Phoenixes are the air superiority unit of the air-to-air attackers. The Phoenix able to destroy in a one-on-one fight, just because they have more hit points and shields combination, and also the Vikings attack much more slowly. You can see the round of attacks there. The Vikings now looking to push in. Zealots may try to engage. There is no Zealot leg upgrade at all, as level 3 infantry upgrades about to be completed. Zealots are now warping in. This poor Marauder over here is going to get cut apart. No, gonna quickly stim, turn around perhaps, And now Marines and Marauders are once again joining in on that fight there. These Zealots don't stand a ghost of a chance, trying to go after that SCV, but getting destroyed before any real damage is done. And now down goes this proxy pylon. Apocalypse still has not scouted out this location here. A lot of energy there, so a lot of chrono boost. There is a lot of Phoenixes though, so 5,400. The gas army is significantly higher for Squirtle. Meanwhile, the mineral army much higher over here. Both sides. Oh, down goes a poor observer, quickly getting scanner sweep there as the probe. Yeah, just destroyed, walking down the ramp. 3-2 Marauders against 0-0 Vikings. This is not going to be a good engagement. The Phoenix is looking to come in, trying to shut down the Vikings, and it looks like the Colossi are going to be able to get in a lot of damage with that extended thermal lance range. And the Phoenixes are now backing off. The Colossi now have to deal with the Marauders that are just simply stimming up the ramp. And yeah, those 3-2 upgrades, just too much. Those Vikings, sorry, those Colossi only dealing, I believe, 12 damage in attack. So instead of dealing 30 damage per swipe, they were actually only dealing 24 damage per swipe, and that's important because that means that those that means that Colossi were not able to one-shot any of those Marines. You can take a look at the Marines. Those Marines down to 12 hit points, the Marauders down to 24, and that is exactly, I believe, what additional 2 armor able to. A lot of these Marauders and Marines would have been taken down. The medevacs are still here, but there's the GG. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay and game here on Shakuras Plateau between Apocalypse and Squirtle.